Hello and welcome to another episode of the Peave and Cronnie Show. I'm Peave.
I'm Cronnie.
And today we're covering a couple of different topics. We've got basically exclusives, and we're talking about whether or not third-party exclusives are acceptable, and also how's Xbox going to survive this winter without any exclusives at all. But I think to kick it all off, we'll talk about, what have you been playing recently, Cronnie? Playing anything exciting? Anything new and anything unusual?
2 games this week.
2 games?
One of them, there's a video coming, which was supposed to come Thursday, but I've not been very well, so it's been delayed a little bit.
No worries.
Multiverses. I don't want to talk too much about that because a lot of the content's going to be in the video, but you should check it out. It's a really good, fun game. And the other game is Hell Let Loose.
Okay.
Last night.
We were playing Hell Let Loose last night. I'll be honest though, I feel like you got a really, really terrible introduction to that game based on what we played.
Yeah. Although I can see the potential in it.
So yeah, I'll see if I can get together like a little group of players, or if anyone that's watching this wants to join in, give us a shout and we'll set it up.
I don't want to write it off completely because there were elements of it that I had really good fun playing, which took me back to sort of old Battlefield days where we used to be really tactical and stuff like that. However, yes, there were some very frustrating moments on there, shall we say?
Yes. Okay. I've been playing. I mean, I've literally just uploaded about an hour ago. I uploaded a Tony Hawk's video talking about Tony Hawk's 3+4, the sequel to 1+2, and how it's been cancelled since Vicarious Visions that created the game has been absorbed into further Activision Blizzard.
Yeah.
So yeah, I brought on a friend and we had a chat about that. So if you've not seen that video, go check it out. What else I've been playing? I played obviously Hell Let Loose with you because it was my recommendation to you. I think you're really going to enjoy it when we get there, but we definitely weren't there last night.
I didn't not enjoy it.
We got more of the hell than the letting loose. Let's put it that way. And then lastly, I'm still playing Forza on the Hot Wheels stuff. I was making a video. It's kind of there, but it's not there. Don't know if I'm going to finish it, if I'm honest. I'm finding this thing where I keep starting videos and then I don't know, like I do like a 12-hour shift at work and I come home and I'm too tired and I take a break for like a day, maybe 2, and then I have no motivation to finish it. And I tend to just move on to the next thing. So maybe towards the end of the year, I might just do like, here's half the content I deleted. Who knows? Yeah. So that's that. I wanted to play Halo. I wanted to play Halo Infinite, but I just can't find the motivation. There's nothing there for me. Even the special events, just not enough.
Well, I played Halo Infinite last week. In fact, I played it after we did the video, so I could say that's another game I've been playing this last week. Because I played it after we did the last Peave and Cronnie show, and well, as the video suggests, I had really good fun playing it actually. But I
was gonna say, if we're gonna count every single game that I've touched in the last week, then we'll be here all day. I've been playing my Nintendo Switch quite a bit, so but sure about the main ones.
Yeah, but I can see why you don't want you get to Halo Infinite and you're like, just cut my ass. I forced myself to play it last week. Once I played it, I had gone fun playing it, but I've not picked it up again since. So
I just couldn't forcing myself to play games. It's a terrible direction for me to go in. I think I would just, I think that would just do me in. If I'm honest, I've got currently installed on my Xbox like 300 games. Between that, my Switch, my PlayStation 4, my PC, I've got so much to play. I don't want to be taking time to force myself to play stuff I don't want to play, which is some of the reason why some of these videos are getting updated.
Here's a question for you then. Halo Infinite. We've seen some leaks of some footage recently of the new Forge, which I have to say looks absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Do you think the Forge would be enough to pull you back into Infinite? And if it is enough to pull you back into Infinite, has Halo now gone down a very dangerous path now where it's segregating Halo from being Halo and turning it into, I don't know, Roblox?
I think I will definitely go back to check it out. And depending on how much of it kind of gets filtered into the regular game, will depend on how long I stick around for. I have zero interest in all these, like, I built a gravity gun in Halo Infinite, or any of these like side games and mini games that people are building. Like, I don't want that. If you want to go and make your own games, go make your own games. Don't come onto Halo and make like little mini games through it. It's pointless. Don't get me wrong, like I get custom games and I know that it's got its like massive fan base, and Forge has always had its big fan base. But as someone that just really enjoys competitive and kind of tight-based arena Halo, Forge has always kind of annoyed me. And then, being very, very careful not to use bad language. Forge has always kind of annoyed me. And this Forge has the potential to annoy me further. But it could also create some content, since 343 is not willing to do it.
Well,
So
that's the other thing, isn't it? It's
But let's be honest, everyone's just going to make 101 versions of Midship. Like every single Forge map that's ever made it into a Halo multiplayer game has always just been Midship in a slightly different style.
Here's the thing now, 343, once that Forge comes out, I don't think they will bring any new maps to Halo Infinite. They will say, hey guys, here's your content. And if that happens, it's going to be a real big shame, because they've sold a live service game on the promise of it being live service, and the fans are creating the content for it, which is wrong.
They'll definitely release new maps. They'll definitely release their own new maps, but I think that we'll be looking at kind of slow and steady new maps. And I'm not convinced that like that's a bad thing, but it's not something I'm 100% for either. I do think though, like live service game or not, it's just not been acceptable. Okay, it's been talked about 100 times. I don't want to go into it much further, but by now, if you're not going to be adding new maps, we should be adding new weapons to the balance. We should have had the DMR added. We should have been, the Halo 4 battle rifle, just anything from past Halo that you can move forward. We were discussing a potential video idea using Halo weapons before, and the only original Halo CE weapons that are in Halo Reach that have made it all the way to Halo Infinite are the plasma pistol and the needler. So you could literally go back. I'm going to guesstimate here at about 100 abandoned Halo weapons. You're making your live service game. Just give us one of those weapons. That's what I would do anyway. Like, just bring them in, even slowly. A couple of different things, like the bubble shield. Put the bubble shield in for a while.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Like, do it as a rotational item. Fortnite's done really, really well with like adding guns and then removing them again, and then adding them back and then removing them again. And I'm not saying that like everything is. I'm not saying that things should be added then removed and added then removed, but at the same time, that's the nature of live service games. So yeah. Do what you want. In short, Halo Infinite sucks, especially this season. They made an entire season now where Halo is best when played with friends, and they made an entire season about playing by yourself. So that was a waste of 6 months of content. So congratulations for another mismanaged thing from 343, and I'm not going to speak about it again.
Moving along.
Definitely moving along. So obviously we're going to get to it where we'll talk about a little bit more about Xbox's kind of exclusive or lack thereof lineup later on in the week, later on in the video. But before we do, third-party exclusives. Obviously, Knights of the Republic got cancelled or delayed indefinitely, which is as good as dead. It's in development hell now. And it got me thinking, like, that was supposed to be a third-party exclusive directly for Sony. You know, there's still a lot kind of in the air about what happened. I've heard rumors that Sony might be pulling funding, which would be one of the reasons why it's kind of died in the water. So, yeah. What are your thoughts?
I've never liked third-party exclusives. Certainly not the timed ones. I can understand the place when, you know, Microsoft or Sony or Nintendo come over to a publisher or developer and say, look, we want you to make that the game for our console. Because without that sort of mindset, we wouldn't have had the big green man, would we?
I mean, exclusive content's always going to happen. It's third-party exclusives, especially as someone that primarily plays Xbox, you miss out on more games than you gain. You know, Final Fantasy Remake, even exclusive content like in the Avengers game, you lost Spider-Man. You're not getting, obviously, Knights of the Republic is PlayStation exclusive, at least timed exclusive.
Yeah.
Crash Bandicoot came as a timed exclusive.
It was originally exclusive on Xbox, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it's now on Switch. So, you know, if the original version is playable in all these different places, then we shouldn't be getting remasters that are then exclusive. Again, pointing at Final Fantasy VII and stuff. It just seems like a shame to me to see this third-party exclusive kind of nonsense. Because the truth is, the only person that really loses in that situation is the player.
Final Fantasy, I'm not overly fussed that I've not been able to play that yet. There will come a point where I will be able to play that. It's coming to PC. I'm going to be buying a PC soon.
It's on PC already.
Is it on there already?
Yeah, the delay actually was caused by Epic. So when it went to PC, Epic bought the rights to make it a PC exclusive for a while to like the Epic Game Store, after it had already been exclusive to the PlayStation Store for so long. So that's where the delay kicked in, because all of a sudden they couldn't produce it for Xbox or for the Microsoft Store.
What I've seen, my memories lie with Final Fantasy VII, the original, in its original way of playing. That's where my memories lie. And although the new one looks great, and you know all the cutscenes are amazing, blah 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 blah, it is a different game that they've released.
Yeah.
And in all honesty, I've not heard a lot of hype about it.
I think you're just in the wrong circles, to be honest. I've heard nothing but positive. I've got a few friends that have played through it. They even gave it away on PlayStation. I might actually have it as one of my like PlayStation Plus games that they just randomly gave me, but I just never play. I always download them but never play them. I might.
Do you know when like a game comes out, like The Last of Us or something like that, and it comes out and you see it everywhere? This is a must play. Blah 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 blah. I've not seen any of that for Final Fantasy VII.
Well, that's not so much to do with how good or bad a game is. That's how much money the developers are willing to put into their.
It's all to do with marketing.
Marketing and.
I suppose Final Fantasy markets itself, doesn't it? To be honest, but
it's not just that. Sony's not going to be putting money into marketing a third-party exclusive game on their console. It's why you don't really hear about, or didn't really hear about, Street Fighter V.
No,
it just kind of came and went, which is another example of a third-party game, but no right to be on Sony, like on the Xbox, PlayStation as an exclusive. Especially if you go back in time now to the Xbox One era, when the Xbox One was actually struggling to secure exclusives, and they got the exclusive rights for Rise of the Tomb Raider for 1 year. Do you remember that?
I also remember the uproar as well for it.
Absolute uproar, because Lara Croft.
This disgrace, Microsoft have monopolized it, blah blah blah.
Lara Croft was a PlayStation franchise and blah blah blah. Fun fact for you, no, it wasn't. It came from the Saturn. So yeah. And also, Yeah, no, it's just like I get it. I understand why people are coming from, but as I said, third-party exclusives, the only person that it hurts is the player. Because it doesn't matter what you're playing on and whether or not it's fallen to your console or not. Because all it means is that the next game that's coming out in that series, you've just got to hope that your company is the one that's going to pay the money to get it out.
Yeah.
I would much rather take the approach that Microsoft's currently taking, which is not to buy third-party exclusives, but to buy third-party day one Games Pass games. You know, Sniper Elite 5, that's another game I've been playing actually, Sniper Elite 5. But Sniper Elite 5 launched on Games Pass. So it's not sold many copies on Xbox. Surprise, surprise. That's what happens when you give half of it away. And people are like, well, if it's not sold on an Xbox, people are going to, they're not going to support it anymore. Yeah, that's because I didn't pay for it. Microsoft paid for it. My copy was paid for.
Microsoft bought it for me.
yeah, pretty much. That's how this stuff works. That and God knows how much money they've made from in-game transactions. Because again, if you're not paying for the game, you're going to buy more microtransactions.
This is the next point, isn't it? So Forza, and we all know Forza is a first-party exclusive, but Forza Horizon. Would you have bought the Hot Wheels set if you'd paid full whack for the game?
Well, I did pay kind of for the game. So when Forza Horizon first came out, before it launched on Games Pass, it was kind of half there, but half not there on Games Pass Ultimate. And you could buy like a DLC add-on, like an Ultimate Edition add-on, which kind of added to the game and gave you early access. And that's how I ended up with a Hot Wheels expansion, because I bought that to get access to the game 2 or 3 days in advance. That being said, right, as a Games Pass, with Games Pass, with the deduction from the £15, it's like £13.50, right? Having played Hot Wheels, yes. It is more than worth £13.50. I'm surprised you've not purchased it yet, but time will come.
I will. I've got a lot of irons in the fire at the minute, haven't we?
Without going into details, yeah. But also, it is the PGR thing you've been waiting for. It is that thing where me and you will get a completely competitive race. There's no cutting corners. You can't cut corners on a Hot Wheels track. There is no corners to cut.
I was just going to say we had a PGI game that we both liked, a PGI replacement, and
then you got annoyed because
in the track.
You started cutting the track, and that was the end of that. So yeah, without going into too much detail about it, the Forza Horizons Hot Wheels thing adds quite a lot to the game. So you've got these mag tracks that allow you to drive upside down and stuff like that. I literally managed to get a car reach 400 miles per hour because I came off this big drop, and as I was going down, I hit a speed boost, and then I entered a spiral. And then, as I was spiraling around on the inside of a volcano, I flew back out, hit another speed boost that fired me back up, and then I hit this loop-de-loop. And then I was driving around on my roof for a while, upside down, but corkscrewing because the track kept spinning as you're driving. And to be honest, the closest game I could compare it to, actually, is probably Wipeout. Also, here's some fancy pajamas for you all. I figured I had to put on something. It is 11 o'clock at night and it's very, very warm. So it was either that or bare legs for you. But no, very, very similar to Wipeout, actually. I think how I describe it. Highly recommend it. And for the £13.50 or whatever it is as part of your Games Pass subscription, it is more than worth the entry fee.
Let's bring it back a little bit to the third-party exclusives, I think you touched on something and you want to mention it briefly. So I think that is the way forward, like you say. Let the third-party games go multi-plat right from the start.
But pay to get it on your
console.
Your subscription service.
Day one, yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that is the solution.
And you know what, ultimately? I think that's probably why Microsoft had to buy Activision Blizzard.
To stop PlayStation from doing just that.
So there you go, PlayStation. Your gamers can have this game. They're going to have to pay $70 for it, But the Xbox gamers, they can have it for free.
He says after I've just pre-ordered Modern Warfare 2.
In fact, I say free. It's not free, is it? Let's not kid ourselves. It's not free. We pay for it. We pay for a subscription service.
Yes and no. I see.
It is free, and I've not paid for a game for a long time, but
that's just because you're cheap. That's not because it's free. No. When you're looking at okay, Games Pass isn't free, but Games Pass Ultimate includes your Xbox Live Gold, which we shouldn't be paying for anyway, because if you're going to give all our games to PC players and they get to play it online for free on the same servers, then we should get to play it online on an Xbox for free. So unpopular opinion for Microsoft there, but yeah, you're still shafting people. You've still got a little bit of work to do on your consumer friendliness. But if you're already paying for Xbox Live Gold, paying for Xbox Games Pass Ultimate, which will give you Games Pass on both for your Xbox and your PC, I think it works out. It's not like £11.99 or £15 or something like that. It's not very much, and that includes your Xbox Live Gold, and that's how I purchased them. That's me playing with my blue tack again. That's how I purchased my games, or should I say, purchased my Games Pass. And I have a PC, so I get the full kind of benefits for that.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Age of Empires, for example, I've got that on the PC. Once you finally get yourself your PC set up, we'll have a little Age of Empires. I'll prove to you that I'm smarter than you, as well as more tactical. No, I'm
I paid more than you, so.
Yeah. But yeah, so. Yeah, I don't know. Like, exclusives suck. It shouldn't be a thing. I feel like they're an out-of-date business model. They exist now because that's how Sony broke into gaming. Let's be honest, without third-party exclusives and just paying to keep games off of the Saturn and the Dreamcast and stuff like that, Sega might have actually stood a chance. Especially up against Sony at the time. But unfortunately for Sega, they hadn't been investing in first-party games. They didn't have that many. When Nintendo...
The Dreamcast, I think they had too many first-party games. They didn't have any third-party.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing. But what I mean is, they didn't have enough to carry themselves. Nintendo had Zelda, and it had... Mario, and it had kind of the things you automatically associate with Nintendo now, they had back in 95 or whatever, when the PlayStation 1 first came out. And anything other than really Sonic, and the franchises that did have, like Golden Axe and stuff like that, they just mismanaged so poorly. They never did anything with it. So they've mismanaged all those games, and then obviously that just left us big gap where Sony kind of came in, paid lots and lots of money to get these people that would normally make third-party games like Micro Machines and stuff like that, to make them exclusive for their PlayStation, and that was that. The rest is kind of history now. We've now seen the demise of Sega, for them to never return. They've gone the way of games publishing. In all honesty, I kind of wish, and I can see it probably happening in the next, this is unpopular opinion, next 10 years, I could see Nintendo going the same way, becoming a publisher only. The Switch is I understand why it exists, it's its own console and stuff, but with Microsoft encroaching quite heavily into cloud, and PlayStation's got this thing called Backbone, which is on the iPhone at the moment, that actually play PlayStation games on the iPhone. The Switch is becoming obsolete, or will do.
Nintendo won't go anywhere soon with their consoles. It still carries about a third of the market.
It does now, but it's not.
In the last gen, it was like,
it's nobody's primary console. No one's like, I play games. I've got a Switch, and like that's it. It's like, for the majority of people, it's their secondary console. Like, if you had nothing to play on, and I was like, here you go, here's £300.
Yeah.
going to buy. You're not going to buy the Switch. Like, that's not going to be where you go. You're probably, I mean, with you being yourself, you'd probably, I could see probably Series S would be, because you could get Games Pass and all that kind of thing. Nintendo doesn't have anything to offer in that kind of dynamic. They do have like their own subscription games sort of this, and it adds random games from like the NES, the SNES, the N64, and the Mega Drive 2 or Mega Drive, which the Genesis for the people that are listening, which is an unusual sort of thing to add on there, but it's got those, and they've got a very, very limited game supply on there. There's nothing like mind blowing. I think they've got one Sonic. I think they've got Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and that's it. Like, it's not like they're full of classic Sega games.
See, if I was to ask Ryan what he would, which console would you want me to buy you as your go-to console, he would say a Switch because he can play Monster Hunter on it.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, like, that's again, it's a third-party exclusive. Nintendo aren't paying for third-party exclusives, though. They're not.
No, but they get them, don't they?
Yeah, but they're getting them because the Switch requires you to put in less effort for making your game to run on it. Like, nobody cares if your graphics isn't fully polished on a Switch. It's a Switch.
Yeah,
whereas, you know, you release a game on the Xbox. Like, how many times have you seen games get completely just shot down before they've even gone anywhere just because they didn't visually appeal? When, you know, we've got all these AAA games out there, like half the indie games out there just cannot compete with those AAA games.
Yeah.
For that reason, and that's why things like Games Pass work, because they give you an opportunity to experience those indie games. You know, you can play the, you know, Worms, and I'm trying to think of other indie games that I've played recently on there, but I'm struggling because I'm a bit of a snob and I've been playing a lot of AAA exclusives. Obviously, you've got indie games that I've purchased, like Hell Let Loose and stuff. Yeah. But in regards to like Games Pass, though, like they release a lot of just random indie stuff on there.
Yeah, there is a lot on there.
And again, the PlayStation version has almost the exact same versions of the indie games.
Well, Family Simulator 22's out on there now, which is good.
Yeah, Power Wash Simulator as well, stuff like that. So there's like this.
Earlier, I was like, what am I doing?
Yeah, what you're doing with your life. So yeah, there is a lot of like just random indie games and things like that that are currently sitting there. But now to the big question. Microsoft had a really, really good year last year. They finished the year. Sony couldn't get anything out the door. They were staggering. They weren't getting anywhere. They got Ratchet and Clank at like the start of summer.
Mm-hmm.
And that was them done. They had no more exclusive games between there and Horizon Zero Dawn. Is it Zero Dawn or I can't remember what the new one's called. But something Horizon. Zero Dawn's the original. I don't know what the new one's called because I don't care. Also, so yeah, nothing kind of went anywhere with any of their first party exclusives for that entire time period. That was them done. And during that gap, Microsoft hit them and hit them hard. We had Forza Horizon 5, Halo Infinite, all these kind of like big. We had Flight Simulator, we had Age of Empires 4. Microsoft was putting out at least one new game every single month for almost 6 months straight. They had them going. And then Microsoft got to Christmas and went, actually, time to take a break. And we've had nothing this year. So can DLC alone keep Xbox in this race for this generation of console, or are we about to see the tides of the battle turn? You know, Sony's starting to get its Games Pass competitor ready, and it's out and available. I mean, it's got a bit of a bad reputation at the moment, but it's going to improve. You know, if they can get the consoles to market, bearing in mind that they've still got the supply chain issues and all these other things. Do you think that Microsoft will be able to compete for this year, because we've got loads of stuff planned for next year, and that's fine. But this year they are so sparse.
I think,
bearing in mind that PlayStation's got God of War coming out, which is like the equivalent of their Halo, like it's their big hitter, and that's coming out this year.
I think they've got a big push to come. I genuinely believe that Microsoft and 343 are going to do some sort of re-release of Infinite or something like that come September.
No.
In terms of DLC, I don't. Do you know what? I honestly don't keep an eye out for DLC anymore, because I just tend to download it. If I see something, oh yeah, that'll be quite good. Yeah, I'll get that. Oh yeah, I quite enjoy that. Yeah, I'll get that. I don't really keep an eye out for it anymore. But which would answer the question is to be no, there isn't anything that DLC wise that would keep Microsoft in the fight.
Do you know what I think keeps Microsoft in the right fight, personally?
I think it's just the Game Pass. It's literally.
I don't just think it's Game Pass. There's something else that's keeping them in this fight for this generation of console in particular. Outside of all of that, and the truth is, we're going through a cost of living crisis. It's horrible here in the UK, but it's not just here; it's everywhere. Obviously, there's stuff going on in the world that just, let's be honest, we're in the bad timeline right now, where everything that can go wrong is going wrong. And so that cost of living crisis makes things like £450, $500 for a new console a little bit steep. Luckily, though, one of the console manufacturers has an affordable or cheaper option to bring to that market. And so the Series S, being affordable and cheaper,
has become the staple.
Yeah. It's gonna it's going to be what's going to be on the release for all those kids' Christmas trees this year, because it's what their parents can afford. And I know that that's kind of a silly, like, not a silly way to put it, but like that's a kind of a sad state of affairs that it's winning because it's cheaper. But that's where we are.
I mean, it's not a bad thing, is it, that it's winning because it's cheaper? And it's not a bad console.
It's not a bad console, but
it plays some games at 4K. It plays some games at 60 FPS. In some instances, it does push the limits and go right up to 120 FPS on some instances. But it does what it needs to do.
Yeah.
And
so that's what I mean. Like, if you're looking for something that's going to let you play games like Hell Let Loose, which isn't available on last gen, or games like Microsoft's starting to move away from, like, we've got the new Forza coming out. That's next gen only, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah.
Microsoft's kind of basically said, right, Xbox One's time is up. We move forward now.
It's been given 2 years now, near enough.
Yeah, well, the Series S as well. Like, it's there. It's fully available. Like, you've not got an excuse now. If you don't have the next gen console, it wasn't because it wasn't available. It's because you didn't either save enough money or you didn't want it.
Yeah.
Okay. If you're holding out to buy that PlayStation 5, you want in maybe a digital version, so it's slightly cheaper and stuff like that. I'm not saying that, like, obviously Xbox isn't the only one with a cheap option. PlayStation's got the kind of cheaper option, but it's not massively cheaper. If you're holding out for that, then cool, good on you. I'm glad. I hope that you get it, and I hope you get the games that you're looking forward to on it. So far, I've seen nothing that would make me want to buy that console. But Spider-Man 2 is coming out eventually, and we all know what that means. Hopefully, I can get some sort of like limited edition Spider-Man themed PlayStation 5. I have to spend extra money on that. Like, if that comes around, then go buy £600 straight away. you know, that's how I got my PS4 as well. Literally that same situation. They were like Spider-Man exclusive, and I'm like, yep, okay.
No money.
Bye bye money. Hello PlayStation. But also PlayStation's moving into bringing out the VR2. So we're getting different experiences now on PlayStation. Xbox has still not done anything with VR, and I know that some people say that it's gimmicky, but I think that if it was more widely available for players to choose and to pick up, I think that we'd maybe see it less gimmicky. It's not Connect. Like if the VR was available as a purchasable thing from a gameplay standpoint, I reckon most people that have an Xbox would buy a VR, or at least for the sort of hardcore fan base, as long as it's supported correctly.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm.
I'm thinking about games like Star Wars Squadrons, but okay, I did buy on the Xbox, but I bought on the Xbox to play with my brother, who never played with me, Maya.
I think I would mind it if it was just literally a companion device. So
yeah, something extra that you could purchase if you wanted to.
So yeah, no focus on making VR soul only games type scenario.
But there would be natural ones.
Play Forza, for example, you put it on and you can look around the car, but you still use your steering wheel or your control pad. You don't have these daft paddle things that they have.
But I think that you'd have to have both, because games like Beat Saber it just won't work on a controller.
Yeah, well, obviously Beat Saber, but
stuff like Beat Saber, and if you're gonna do VR, you've got to bring across the best of the VR games, you know, Beat Saber, and stuff like that. I'm not going to mention Half-Life or whatever it is, because that's never coming to console. So, yeah. Anyway, that's just kind of what I wanted to discuss today. I think that's a good place to end it. So yeah, if anybody's got anything to add to the conversation, anybody got anything to say, whether it's that you loved my funky pajamas, or you thought that our conversation was really, really terrible and that you want your 38 minutes or so back of your life, let us know in the comments. Check out our videos.
Think of my new recording space.
Recording space. Well, I like it more when you start recording more videos. Come on, let's get them out.
No, seriously, no. Yeah, please leave a comment if you've watched and you've sat through even 5 minutes of this.
If you've made it to this point, right, then yeah, you should leave the comment anyway. Let us know that you've at least seen it.
Yeah, exactly. But you know, we appreciate your feedback, good or bad, and would like to know what you want us to talk about going forward. And
yeah, topics of conversation you want to see. Yeah, that's a brilliant idea of a comment sort of thing. Because we come up with these topics pretty much on the day of filming and kind of just discuss them, or vaguely based on something we've talked about.
If you want us to talk about, if you know, you might be a die-hard Halo fan and you want us to talk about Halo for a full 30 minutes, probably won't happen.
Us talk about Halo? Never.
Probably. No, we're not for a full 30 minutes though. But yeah, we'll talk to whatever you want. You know,
what if I didn't stop you?
As the Doom video shows, I've been playing quite a lot of Doom recently. Incidentally, I'm thinking about doing a Doom Eternal video as well to back up the one I've done recently. So if you want to see that, please again leave a comment. But yeah, please do tell us what you want us to talk about, because we'll talk about it and we'll offer our thoughts and inputs and opinions. Might be completely different to what you've got in mind. Might be the same. Either way, whatever we talk, you can then say, "No, you're frigging wrong."
Yeah, let's just open a conversation. At the end of the day, the concept of the Peave and Cronnie show is it's supposed to be a conversation, but it's not just a conversation between myself and Cronnie. It's a conversation between everyone. That's what the comment section's for. Get involved. Let us know what you're thinking, and we'll work from there.
And as we said a couple of weeks back, the more people that comment, we will put on a tournament or league or something on one of the FPS games. Obviously, we're leaning towards Halo Master Chief Collection at the minute because it's something we're familiar with and we know how we can set that up. But we will do something.
And Halo Infinite's
talking about
games don't work.
What, sorry?
And Halo Infinite's custom games don't work, so you can't do it.
Custom games don't work, so you can. And we've been chatting this week about if we get enough interest and we get enough people do it, we might put up a little prize as well. But it's not going to be a massively expensive prize. But get yourself involved and we'll set something up, and then there could be a little prize at the end of it for you.
Maybe even an optional prizes. So there you go. That's some fancy ones. But yeah, so that's just kind of where we are. That's what we're discussing. So we've been today. Join in, as I said, get involved. And until next time, I have been Peave. I
have been Cronnie.
You have been awesome. And before he shouts at me for not including both of us, we will see you in the next one. Take it easy, guys.
Take it easy, guys.